What's up, metal and heavy music fans? It's Flight of Icarus again with MetalTrenches.com, and today we are ranking the albums of Pantera. And hey, if you'd like to be kept up to date with the best and brightest metal bands and albums from the underground and above, then stick with me by hitting that subscribe button down below. Pantera tier list, and just diving right in, this first set of albums, I'm going to just throw them all into D tier. It's honestly not bad music by any stretch. I mean, for the genre, they were doing some of it pretty solid, but it's basically a completely different band in these early days. So we've got Metal Magic in 1983, Projects in the Jungle in 1984, I Am the Night in 1985, and Power Metal in 1988. And if I'm not mistaken, that is the first one with Phil Anselmo actually stepping in on vocals. But let's face it, these albums aren't really why you're here anyways. Let's really get into the thick of it here. With Cowboys from Hell in 1990, obviously, this is a total classic. Plenty of legendary tracks on here. Cowboys from Hell, Psycho Holiday, one of my personal favorites, The Art of Shredding, and of course, Cemetery Gates, which I think perfectly fuses some of their earlier influences from those previous albums into this new sound. I also like Shattered and Medicine Man from kind of the deeper cuts. This is an album that more or less made groove metal into like the new big sound of the time. Still not my favorite though, so I'm going to go ahead and put it at A tier. Vulgar Display of Power, 1992. How do you follow up a classic? Do it again, just better. This is their big gift to the world, if you ask me. Certified double platinum, too, by the way. Basically, every song on here is a single. You've got Mouth for War, Walk, another song that launched like tens of thousands of metal guitar players to learn that riff. Rise, A New Level. Fucking Hostile has been a staple for like my gym workouts basically since high school. What a great riff and vocal performance on that one with the 1, 2, 3, 4. And then This Love just brimming with bitterness. Kind of an interesting track for them. Great sort of like breakup music, especially for when you're an angsty teen. This one's gotta be S tier for sure. Then we have Far Beyond Driven, 1994. This was actually their fastest selling album, which coming off of Vulgar Display of Power, not too surprising there. It hit number 1 on Billboard, but in a way, it's kind of sad to me that this is the album that did that. I also didn't realize it wasn't until this album that Daryl started actually crediting himself as Dimebag Daryl. Figured that happened much earlier. Phil was suffering chronic back pain from degenerative disc disease, so lots of drinking and painkillers and all sorts of other not so great stuff going on here. The song I'm Broken is actually about this, and I can kind of like hear it taking its toll on this music. Strength Beyond Strength is a solid opener. 5 Minutes Alone and I'm Broken have some great groovy hooks on them, but also a lot of kind of shitty ones. Becoming has really annoying yowly vocals. Good Friends and a Bottle of Pills is just plain cringe, which is a shame also because I love the bass on that track. Hard Lines, Sunken Cheeks is just plain boring. All around, this just feels like a massive step down for them from those previous albums. It's overly simplified in the compositions, not as consistent. It just feels honestly lazier, and it just doesn't have that same kind of like Pantera flair in the riffs. It's much more just focused solely on the groove and not what makes Pantera Pantera, in my opinion. So I'm going to put this one at C tier. Then we have the Great Southern Trendkill in 1996, and I got to tell you, I love the title track on this one. It is one of my all-time favorite go-to Pantera tracks. My friend in high school actually used this as his alarm clock in the morning because you got that great opening scream and then the return of those great bluesy southern dirtbag riffs that we want from Dimebag. The vocals were actually recorded at Trent Reznor's Nothing Studios, which was an interesting little factoid I didn't know about. Overall, solid tracks on this one, but I wouldn't say they're quite as memorable. I think the standouts here are Drag the Waters, 13 Steps to Nowhere has some really awesome drumming on it. Suicide Note Part 2 is stupid heavy. And then you've got some interesting experimentation with Suicide Note Part 1. Not entirely really sure still to this day how I feel about that track, but I'm going to go ahead and put this album at B. And then we have Reinventing the Steel in 2000. Pantera's final album definitely has its share of bangers as well. Goddamn Electric, You've Got to Belong to It, Revolution Is My Name, Death Rattle. This is a very just sort of a nice, tight 10-track album. Gets in there, gets the job done, gets out before it overstays its welcome. And I'd say it's an overall solid note to go out on. Definitely in their top 3 albums, I would say. I'll Cast a Shadow also just feels like the perfect song to just close out the entire career with lyrically. So this one's kind of a B+. I'm still putting it at B tier, but it's better than the Great Southern Trendkill overall, I would say. But yeah, now it's your turn. As always, let me know down in the comments, how would you rank these Pantera albums? And don't go anywhere, because I got plenty more tier lists coming right after this one, and also full album reviews. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, and support me on PayPal for early access. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.